health and well-being of people at all ages lies at the heart of sustainable development. An important target under Sustainable Development Goal SDG 3 states, quote, by 2030 ensure universal access to sexual and reproductive healthcare services, including for family planning, information and education, and the integration of reproductive health into national strategies and programs. Hello and welcome to the Dettol NDTV Banega Swasth India campaign. When we talk about Healthy India, Swasth Bharat, mother and child's health is extremely important. In fact, in India's family planning program, it's not just about population control, but it's also about improving health of women and children. But unfortunately, nearly 95% Indian men in our country don't use condoms, and the burden of family planning is almost exclusively on women. We are joined by some of the experts today to talk about family planning challenges and the unmet need for contraception. Let me introduce the panel to you. We have Dr. Ajay Khera, Country Representative in Gender Health, an organization working on gender equality. He was also the Commissioner of Mother and Child Program, Government of India. Ravi Bhatnagar, Director, External Affairs and Partnerships, Reckitt Benckiser, a founding member of the Condom Alliance. Vivek Malhotra, CEO, Population Health Services India, founding member of the Condom Alliance as well. And Vitika Yadav, Head, Love Matters, also a founding member of the Condom Alliance. Thank you all so much for joining us. Dr. Khera, you have worked in the government as the Commissioner for Mother and Child Program. How do you see the population growth and what are your thoughts on the availability and access of condoms and other contraceptives?
Oh, thank you very much. I think the point which you raised, that India started their family planning program way back in early 50s, But at that point of time, the purpose of the family planning was mainly population control. But now if you look at the recent strategy of the Government of India, they say the family planning program is not only for population control, it is also required to improve the health of the mother and the children. That's why under the Mother and the Child Health Program, sexual and reproductive health services, including family planning, is an integral part of the program. But another important thing which I would like to highlight here is that in terms of the contraceptive use, because if you really want sexual and reproductive health services to be available across the country for all sexually active men and women, and then then only we should be able to achieve these gains of family planning as well as the MCH gains. And another important point which I would also like to mention here is that spacing has been given a highest priority. Because in India, every alternate pregnancy which is happening in India is happening with the interval of less than 3 years, which is called as the unhealthy interval. So that means if we really want to improve these contraceptive services, we have to make contraceptive services available. Only then we'll be able to make a dent in the population control as well as these mother and child health programs.
So Vivek, when we talk about now this pre and post COVID era, and 2020 in fact has been a really tough year. It's had an additional impact on the condom market. As an industry, in fact, I was reading somewhere that 40% drop in condom sales related to unavoidable restrictions pertaining to countrywide lockdown. Condoms weren't even listed as essentials during the lockdown, initially, and that has led to nearly 1 million unintended pregnancies in a year. So Vivek, what would you say? Already we are short, there's an unmet need, and now with the COVID-19 and the lockdown, things have been worsened.
Yes, Ambika, we were already not meeting the demands of the existing couples, and the lockdown resulted in huge supply chain disruptions, both from the manufacturing side and at the consumer side, where condom marketers and manufacturers not able to supply condom at the last mile. And it took many months for us to get contraceptive listed as essential services. And then only we could actually do that. And as a result, the estimate suggests that we probably have 1 million extra unintended pregnancy, where couple wanted to space the child and do not want to have a pregnancy, but they were not able to actually source contraceptive at that point in time.
Ravi, again, what we were talking about, there was a definite dip, Dr. Khera told us, in fact, Vivek told us, when we're talking about access to condoms and short-term contraceptive options like pills, like during the lockdown, especially in rural areas, and also to many abortions happened worldwide. But when we talk about this, the demand for sex products was seen. Did you see the online sales picking up as the e-commerce market did pick up during this time?
During the lockdown period, India was divided into green zones, orange zones, and the red zones. So mental health issues were also there. Somehow people were in depression. Many people lost jobs. People were sitting at home, and resulting into a lot of things like maybe like that may also have an impact on the condom uptake during the lockdown. But definitely in last 2 months, in February and this January and February, like the market start picking up again. But a lot of triggers are required to resume the services which were there in place. When we talk about the last mile, a lot of centers, the health centers were converted into the COVID centers. So as a result of that, the service uptake was also very minimal. And largely there's a lot of unintended pregnancies, etc., which have happened, and NDTV2 reported on the same.
So, Vitika, every year India manufactures about 2 billion condoms, and it is one of the leading exporters. Condom sales in India has stagnated at a compound annual growth rate. That's what we've been talking about, and now it's barely, I think, 1% over the past few years. In fact, the irony is that India has one of the world's largest population of reproductive age males at 600 million. Vitika, where do you think we are going wrong? Do you think condom usage is not optimum? And how can we actually do something about it? How can we spread awareness?
One, of course, like you mentioned, India is home to the largest number of young people in the world today. We know that the demographic dividend in India is youth dominated. But when it comes to sexual health and well-being of young people, somewhere these are not issues which have been given high priority. So when we're talking about the landscape of condoms and contraceptive products, we are somehow missing the connection with young people and uptake of services. And I guess that's where we largely see the big gap. So I guess when we talk about the condom and contraceptive market, we really have to look at the barriers, which make access access of these contraceptive and condoms, sort of problematic. And when we are not going to talk to young people about it, when we are not going to accept that young people should essentially have information and access to these products, we are not going to make much headway. And then again, when we talk about the condom market, it is largely dominated with male condoms. So that's another problem, I feel.
In fact, we're going to come on to that. I want to ask you about this, the male contraceptive and female. We're going to come on to that. But Dr. Khera, just the National Family Health Survey, in fact, found that around 78% of Indian men between ages 20 and 29 do not use any method of contraception due to factors. There are many factors: lack of awareness, education, the belief that women should be responsible for contraception, and also the negative perceptions around condoms. Also, again, social norms is something. What do you think especially this really is about? Is it just about the youth?
We have not given adequate attention in terms of providing SRH services to adolescents. And there is a dire need to give that emphasis. I'll give you a small kind of, a statistical comparison. When we say overall from, all sexually active women, the unmet need is 13%. But if you look at the unmet need in the young population is around 28%, roughly, double. So that means we have not been able to talk about comprehensive sexuality education. Yes. There is a stigma about talking about sex. We are not talking frankly with the young or the adolescent. So this is, one important reason that comprehensive sexuality education is not being provided adequate. Even parents do not talk about sex with their adolescents. And even the teachers are not very comfortable in talking about it. I think, we need to break this barrier, this communication gap.
Sure. I think talking about it, like Vitika said, comprehensive. In fact, Dr. Khera also said comprehensive sexual education. So Ravi, how can we really normalize this conversation?
I have worked extensively with Vitika here, who is a co-panelist with me, to create the Birds in Bees Talk program. We reached out to almost every kid in the northeastern states of India. What we did differently was how we positioned the program. If you just Google the word continuous sex education, you just read the global bashing on the programs. How much is a hater just to write about it? So the nomenclature needs to be made in such a way like it is not offensive at all. And whenever like anyone, hear about the adolescent sexual health programs, people do think like we are talking about sex and sexuality to the kids. We are trying to show them the, the male genitals, the female genitals, how they're growing up, etc., etc. But what we did was like, the approach was taken very differently, like where the first pillar starts with engaging the parents, and where parents become the partners in the whole, the curriculum delivery. Then instead of having, the pictorial books, we worked on the comic scripts where there are characters like Bubble and Joy. So we worked with those characters, and we tried to, make the curriculum which is very, very diversity and, gender inclusive. We also tried to do something where, we got the highest level of support from the chief ministers from 7 northeastern states, and make sure like, we tell them the delivery milestones on a very regular basis. The whole programming needs to have, should not be just, the book-oriented programming. There are newer techniques and pedagogies which are required to deliver the programs, which we have used during our, delivery of the program in the northeastern states. One of the major things is like, how you use the music, the folk music, the culture, the art, the games, the sport. But long way to go for taking the curriculum, nationwide.
I think, Ravi, that's some fantastic work y'all are doing. Even if it just started, I think, we need to start talking about it. In fact, when you said y'all are working on gender, inclusivity, that's what, Ritika, I want to come and ask you, why are men always missing in the family planning, in India? Why is it it's always on the women?
I think men shy away from conversations around condoms and contraception, anything to do with family planning traditionally. And I guess, traditionally the programs have always focused on this being a women's issue. And I guess that's where we missed the first opportunity to really look at family planning, so to say, as an issue, which is just not about women, right? When we start to talk about it from the perspective of couples and families and, choices, what does it mean to have good communication as couples? So I think that opportunity was lost right from the time, when family planning programs were introduced in the country.
So Vivek, while we've spoken about the issue and we do realize we need to invest in awareness, promotion, whether it's condom or contraceptive use, at sexual debut in our country is very low. In fact, the government of India was investing at one point in contraceptive awareness, but they have stopped doing that now since 2014.
Yeah, actually, government had a very large program from the mid 80s onwards to promote contraceptive use. And they continued till 2014 and 15, and then somehow I think budgetary constraints put probably an end to that behavior change communication program. Ambika, I want to stress that behavior change communication programs needs to run a very long period of time. Government needs to realize that new users keep entering the reproductive age group as our youth is bulging and demographic dividend sets in. Now you have youth who have not heard of government programs on behavior change and condom use. So this needs to a consistent effort. And the condom market is not big enough in India for private players, commercial brands to invest in growing the brand. And in addition to that, the prices of condoms in the commercial sector are very low if you compare with neighboring countries within the South Asia basket. That there's not enough financial incentive for them to grow the market.
Sure. That's, I think, a really important point that we do need to, in the government, there needs to be a policy. We need to talk about this. It's time for a short break. We will talk about why is there a high level of teenage pregnancy and what really holds back women in our country to make the choices. Stay tuned. Dr. Khera, why is there a high level of teenage pregnancy in India? We've spoken about the issue, awareness, what we need to do about it. But tell us about teenage pregnancies.
If you look at these available data sets from 2005 to 2015, there is a drastic reduction in adolescent pregnancy rates in the country. It used to be 22%. Now it has gone down to 8%. But even if 8% adolescent pregnancies, if you convert them into numbers, we have 30 million pregnancies happen every year. And if you consider 8%, so roughly around 2.4 million pregnancies happen to the women who are in the age group 15 to 19 years of age group, and which is a real cause of concern, because this teenage pregnancy, it is like, baby giving birth to a baby.
Yeah.
And then it is a very high risk kind of a pregnancy, which may lead to death of the mother, and even the newborn death can happen. So it's a very high risk case, But why this is happening is, in India, 8% as on today, and that is the national average. But there are states like Bihar, Tripura, where you find adolescent pregnancy rates are quite high, actually. 13%, 14%, 15%. And the reasons are mainly because of the limited knowledge of SRH, limited information, limited education, and then there are things like, harmful gender and the social norms. Like there are communities where gender norms and the social norms, particularly like child marriage. Child marriage is a rampant phenomena in many of the parts of the country. And I think this is also one of the reasons which needs to be tackled and handled appropriately.
No, 8%, Dr. Khera, what you pointed out, teenage pregnancy, I think that's a huge number when you look at numbers. In fact, coming to that, Vitika, in comparison, when we talk about contraceptives like male condoms and emergency contraceptive pills, however, female condoms are lesser known and even lesser used.
Of course, like you said, there has been deafening silence about female condoms in the country. And I would like to hear from others, in terms of condom manufacturing, because one, there is no supply because people consider there is no demand. But if we go back and just look at the culture of silence around women and contraception and their needs, what possibly is much more comfortable for them, and they are in control of their own, own body, female condoms should be the first choice. But often they are seen as a little more, a little more difficult. So one of the biggest misconceptions is around virginity. Anything that is supposed to be inserted, you fear losing your virginity. And that's one of the myths, one of the biggest misconceptions, I guess, we are fighting, and has done much injustice to women. And also in context of designing and having a market which is ready for, which speaks to women, which talks about their body and their needs first. So I think when it comes to just female condoms, the market has been non-existent because we have not been able to fight those myths and misconceptions.
So Ravi, would you like to take on what Vitika said?
I was the one who took the female condoms to 14 LWE states in India, 14 LWE districts across 3 states like Odisha, in Bihar, in Jharkhand. Results were amazing, resulting into it became the part of the National AIDS Control Program operational guidelines. Somewhere I believe a momentum is required. This is the age of diversity and inclusion and equity. I believe in various organizations across India who are working on this subject should have more women leaders. Maybe that will also drive this whole change. We as a company are working towards having the senior leaders, where we will be having around 40% of the female leaders driving some big decisions in the managerial positions. The whole scheme of things in the country may also we need reflection, where we work on breaking the ceilings, and we encourage more leadership to bring, and they drive the agenda. Will is there, but somewhere people do also ask about the business case. People do ask about the monies involved. And in the COVID-19 times, the focus was to give the essential services only to the large extent.
Vivek, Condom Alliance, you're a part of it, Ravi, Vitika. So tell me, as a founding member, the Condom Alliance, how much is it helping? In fact, they recently launched the Con Dumb Hair, campaign. So tell us about that.
The Con Dumb Hair campaign is basically based on, condom made it con dumb hair.
Yeah.
And it's to generate a curiosity, as well as, a lot of people hesitate to talk about condom, use the word condom. And we wanted to actually break that myth that condom word is not a bad word. Actually, and that's the reason the campaign is, and it's trying to target the youth, both through social media and the digital platforms. And on that basis, we want that when youth come and ask for condoms from shopkeepers, pharmacies, they should not feel embarrassed about it.
No, in fact, I think what you all have really, what we've spoken about, it is need of the hour. We need to talk about this. Thank you so much, Dr. Khera, Ravi, Vivek and Vitika for joining us. In fact, despite India's young population, condom sales have increased only at the rate of 1% per year for the last couple of years. In a country like India, where condoms are avoided, contraceptive options are considered a taboo, especially for young people, along with lack of men's responsibility in family planning, we have a long way to go. While the condom market conditions remain challenging, there is a need for a national policy on sex education in school and colleges for increased awareness. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development 3 will not be met without a profound shift from focus on access to contraception to broader aspects of sexual health and social context. Thank you so much for watching.